right. It's been a long time, ladies and gentlemen. You haven't seen us, and we haven't seen all of you in a few months. COVID-19 slowed down everyday life. No sports happening as a result, thus being forced to watch reruns and sports documentaries. And, we all had some personal things to deal with. So, before hopping back on the air, you add all of that up, and that means time. And we've had a big gap of that time. But hey, now we're back. And as a matter of fact, sports, for the most part, is back somewhat.
Yeah,
so
man.
You've got basketball back in their bubble, so to speak. You got baseball playing to their capacity.
Uh-huh.
And the NFL season has opened up their training camps. And so far, so good. So, but for us as Jets fans, we are one and very, very recently now 2 players less right now, but multiple future prospects more. So let's talk about that and much, much more on the BKBK podcast, where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. Let's go.
Got it right.
We're back.
We're back. So we
are
back.
It's been a while.
It has been a while, So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Brandon Phillips. All righty. They used to call me AKA B Lover back in the day. The kid is still the lover. You know what I'm saying? Check this out. Check it out. There we go. And then, let's cut right to Kerry Idris Taylor right there. Grew the beard in, too. Look at that. Smoothed out. Look at that.
Little gray,
not that
little
smooth,
gray.
but,
I was gonna say you look like the Just for Men commercial right now.
It looks like he needs a kit. He needs to, darken it up with the kit.
Who am I? Who am I to
Who
talk?
are you?
Who am I to talk about the gray hair?
Yeah.
Well, I can't tell. It looks more blonde than anything else. So
Kyle's got that Irish red on him. You know what I mean?
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
Irish
there he
red.
goes. Yeah. This is Captain Kyle McKenna. All right.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, man. Former linebacker for the Boston Bruins. And then we've got Brian Taylor in the Taylor family with his brother Kerry.
That's right.
Over there.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Let's do it.
So I've known Brian since 3rd grade, 8 years old. Like, tap, tap, tap. Hi, Mrs. Taylor. Is Brian home? And then Kerry would open the daggone door and start teasing us.
Can you fit through this small opening?
Do you have any curry chicken? Then no, he's not home.
Yeah, your mother wanted the curry goat, man. I told my mother.
That's right, the goat. Yeah,
yes, man. Of course, I'll make Mrs. Taylor some curry goat. Of course, didn't happen. So, All right. So listen. All right, we were reminiscing. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But we're gonna get to it. So listen, I sent out the outline last night.
You did,
right? And then Kerry sends the latest news. All right. And the outline for our Act 1, which we're going to tackle right now, had to do with and deal with Jamal Adams and how he just, just positioned himself to take flight and go to Seattle. And we're just kind of like, all right, we'll talk about this tomorrow. And then Kerry hits us all up like, yo, CJ Mosely, he opts out of, the 2020 season. So 2 of our best defensive players are gone.
Yep.
Fellas, who wants to talk about this first? Let's talk about CJ Mosely first. He's the latest bit of news, and then we can talk about Jamal, because I know we got some stuff to crunch on Jamal Adams.
I mean,
hey, Brian, have you broken down the amount of money per minute played?
No, I haven't. I haven't gotten to that point. But yeah, just you paying this guy the top contract for an inside linebacker ever at the time.
$17.5 million a year, I believe.
Right. The only positive is, from my understanding, he's not going to get all of his regular salary this year. People who opt out get, 6 figures, right? 150,000, good money to you and I, right? Sitting on this call today, but for them, obviously not. And then the year's toll into the next year. So it's not like we lose a year on the contract as far as control of that player. So next year he'll still have 4 years, 58 million or whatever the number is on the contract. I'm less concerned in that we had to deal with this issue last year, right? With him being injured and Williamson being injured as well. So we do have some in-house replacements for him. Obviously not ideal and what you would want to go into the 2020 season. But
I agree with you, B.
I can't be mad at him personally for making that decision for him and his family. You see what's going on in Major League Baseball right now with certain teams, the Marlins in particular, just, going out and partying and coming back, and now they can't play, and so the risk of getting COVID-19 is pretty significant. So especially in a sport like football, and nobody knows, they're not going in a bubble like basketball. Basketball did it right. They're there. We're good to go. Nobody's had a positive test in a while, right? Going into the top of the season, which is great, but you can't really guarantee that in football. So it sucks. It does. But I don't feel as bad with regard to him opting out based on all the factors I just mentioned.
I don't feel as bad either. I mean, it is disappointing just purely as a fan. And then when you get that notice, like when Kerry sent that, I was like, daggone, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But then when you sit back and you really analyze it, one, we still have control of him. It just kind of rolls into the next year.
Yeah.
The $150,000 comes out of his salary still, Mm-hmm. So that, and we still have control. So it's just basically one extra year. And then secondly, the only thing that I have to say is that when you lose a year in football, you lose a year. He is 28 years old.
Yep.
He's only played 3 quarters for us. So now we've lost him at 27. That's a peak year. At 28, that's another peak year. We're going to get him back at 29, 30, and 31. And, that's when you kind of, at least when you hit your 30s, you potentially could start to kind of decline. So that's my issue. So Joe Douglas, as he has been, stay queued up. And, if we have to deal him, then we can deal him. I won't be mad at that. But if we keep him and he's still valuable, then I won't be mad at that either. And like you were saying before, we've had basically our entire lineup at inside linebackers put on interviews last year, and a lot of them did well. So I forget his name.
Blake Cashman?
Yes, and he was out of Minnesota. Neville Hewitt. And who's the other young guy who was flying around? You reminded me of Jonathan Vilma.
Burgess.
What's his name again?
Burgess.
Flying around the place.
You loved Burgess too. You loved him.
I don't know if Burgess is still on the roster.
They better get him back.
Well, you got the dude from the Ravens too, right? So that was somebody that when they brought him in, and I'll look up his name, but when they brought him in, they thought that maybe he could be a replacement for Williamson, but we ended up keeping him. Good thing we did.
Great move.
Yeah.
Another great move by the GM.
Absolutely. You got to keep that guy. So now you have somebody that is, not all pro level, but, potential pro bowler or a step below, but obviously coming off a major injury. So you got to see exactly what you have when you put him out on the field. But we didn't have him last year either. And we still were able to, and listen, think about the coach, right? A defensive coach is somebody that can put people in the right place to succeed, and we overachieved as a defense last year. I'm sure we'll be able to do the same this year.
Absolutely, 100%.
But my 2 cents is, or my disappointment is that I have been waiting for a long time to watch a game where C.J. Mosely and
Williamson
are in the same middle linebacker package.
Inside linebacker playing that 3-4, just running all over the place.
Right. That's the most disappointing part for me. And again, I'm not necessarily – I am – not that I applaud him for taking the year off because of this COVID thing, but I'm not mad at him about that. Yeah. In fact, I mean, if he's willing to give up that money, even if it's just on the front end, knowing that it adds a year to his connection with the organization, then, I respect that. I got to respect that. I think he's the most
high profile
player in the NFL in terms of ability, in terms of salary wise, that is taking this stance.
Yep. And that's fine. That's fine. I've already stated my position before. I am disappointed only from a fan aspect, but from a human aspect. And listen, there have been people in my family that caught COVID. You know, 2 cousins, people that we know from Baldwin.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And other people as well. So, you know, I totally understand. I understand. I totally understand. What about you, Kyle? What do you think?
Well, first of all, James Burgess is on the roster.
Yes.
I just checked that. So, first of all, I don't care about the Jets' money. I don't care who they give it to, as long as it doesn't count on the salary cap. Salary cap is all I care about. They can pay. I don't care who takes their money at all.
Unless it's a player that doesn't deserve it and isn't playing up to the position, up to this.
Well, I mean that's a different conversation. I'm just saying that their money's their money, and I don't care about it except in the salary cap perspective.
I agree.
Yeah. So the fact that CJ Mosley got a $10 million roster bonus in May, on top of his $150K that he just had.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I don't care about that.
But that was part of his 17.5, his annual salary.
I think it was. I think
that's how they break it up.
I think the 17.5 is more of an average over the length of the contract, whereas 16 is what he was going to make this year. So
right,
$6 million salary with the $10 million roster bonus.
Wow, exactly, and that's basically what I was getting to. So it's not like they just give it all to him during the playing games of the football season. You get your roster bonus, and then you get your workout bonus, and they break it up like that. But he was, yes, Kyle, given that $10 million, you know, as a bonus, but it's not really a bonus. It's part of what he was salaried to get.
It's a cap friendly deal.
Yes.
And the reason I bring it up is because a lot of people are pissed off in some way, shape, or form that the guy opted out after taking the $10 million signing bonus, and they're saying stuff like he should give it back. And I like, to me, that's a ridiculous frame of thought, because, you know, it's not, if it affected the salary cap in a negative way, in which, you know, then we couldn't do stuff like sign a Logan Ryan or sign a Jadeveon Clowney or something like that, then I might be a little bit more upset, but it doesn't really matter. So, I mean, I've told you guys on the text stream that I think this is a throwaway season. I think Bill Belichick sees this as a throwaway season, and he's probably the current smartest guy in the room when it comes to player personnel in the NFL. And as much as I don't like him, I respect him. And the Patriots have more opt-outs than any team in the league. So Marquise Lee just announced his opt-out at the same time that CJ Mosley did. So I think anybody that wins the Super Bowl this year has an asterisk next to it. It's a fugazi. It doesn't really mean anything. So that's if we ever get to a Super Bowl.
Right. You're definitely from New York, Kyle, using that term fugazi. Definitely from New York, bro. Well, our fans out there, you got 4 New Yorkers in here. You know what I mean?
Check out Donnie Brasco. You'll get the definition of what a fugazi is.
But listen, man, I think there's other NBA as an example. There are other teams that on a strike shortened season or just shortened seasons, we don't put an asterisk next to their names. They have rings and they walk around like they won the championship at the end of the day. So if the Jets win, you're not going to say, oh, this is fugazi, right? If we get to 16 games and we win, however we would end up winning it, you'd be like, yo, we the champions, right?
Yeah,
right.
I think I agree with you, Brian, but I lean towards what Kyle is saying in terms of if we get to a Super Bowl, I don't see how, given the amount of people that we're talking about and given the type of contact that goes on as it relates to football in general, how this season is going to go is going to play itself out where there is a climax to a Super Bowl. And the reason I say that is because they're not in a bubble. They're not in a bubble like the NBA.
No, I don't disagree with you. I think that,
and I think we see parts of it. I think we see what the problem with not being in a bubble sort of propagates when you look at the MLB.
They're all human beings, man, and not all of them believe in COVID-19 period, right? Let's take a cross section of America in general. Not everybody believes in it, and not everybody believes they're going to get it, and not everybody believes they're going to pass away from it or pass it along to others. I don't disagree with you as far as us getting to the Super Bowl. I think those are two separate questions. I think that do we get to a Super Bowl? I don't think so. But if we do, am I going to walk around, if I'm the Jets and we win it, am I going to walk around with an asterisk on my back and feel bad about it?
I won't.
No, I will not. Right? So I think we're on the same page with that. That's all.
My point is that I don't even think we get there.
I agree with you.
I'll be surprised if we get through. I'll be surprised if we get through half of a season.
Yeah. Honestly. And you know what? Listen, we get through half of a season. Here's what I want. Seattle lose all 8 of those games so that when we get to the draft, we're picking the first draft pick.
They're not going to.
No, they're not.
And that's okay. I don't know if we want to transition right now into this, talking about this Jamal Adams trade.
Yeah, let's transition into it. Let's do it.
But there was a definite, in my opinion, there was a definite agenda on behalf of Jamal Adams. I think that he's been revealed for kind of what he was doing. And the thing that is the most revealing thing to me is that he's not going to get a new contract this year.
Right.
With Seattle.
Right.
They straight up said they wouldn't give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he straight up said he's okay with it. So if that's the case, you just orchestrated your way out.
So if that's the case,
then
you orchestrated your way out.
Wow. And here it goes. It took 17 minutes and 38 seconds for him to mention Adam Gizes.
It sounds like Brandon might be drinking the Manish Meta Kool-Aid. So I mean, because I see Jamal Adams as conspiring with this beat writer who writes op-eds. He doesn't write any journalism. He's a total fraud, and he's been revealed as a fraud too. So these guys conspired to say, okay, what can I do to force their hand and get me out of here? Because and he's saying things like they promised me a contract and didn't give it to me. Okay, well, the team that you went to isn't giving you one either. He's saying things like the coach never spoke to anybody at halftime, and he's the worst coach in the world, and the GM is a liar. All these things, all these buttons that he's pushing, and then he goes a step further and takes the comments, which I don't know if they're true or not, about Woody Johnson and what he said and what he didn't say. It's a very charged atmosphere right now with that. So I'm not defending him at all. But Jamal took that a step further on Twitter and made it about that too. And I think all these things together forced the hand of the Jets to have to trade him. And I can't believe that they got so much. Yeah, I was walking with my friend who's a Jet fan the other day. One of our our COVID rituals now is to go take that evening walk, and now that it's training camp time, we're talking Jets all the time. And I said to him, if we had just got the 2 first-round draft picks, I would have been happy. We got 2 first-round draft picks, a starting safety,
yes,
and flipped a third and a fourth.
Gave him a fourth. Yep.
I mean, like the haul on that, I might have traded a happy Jamal Adams for that.
Yes. And the position is strong safety. And let's remember, guys, by the way, Kyle, I loved everything you said and how you said it before your dialogue. Let's remember, he was placing calls to Dallas. He was calling Dallas players to see and evaluate how he could potentially get there. And let's remember this. I think he's from the Dallas-Fort Worth area as well. It would be nice.
He's a former Texas football player.
He's a former. high school
Yeah.
Texas football player. Yes. Yep. And he is from, I believe, near there. I think it might be Fort Worth. I can't confirm that, but he's near there.
Mhm.
And how good would it be to go back home, make millions of dollars in front of home fans, and you only went to LSU, which is not too far away from there as well. It's in another state, but it's not that far. And it's like, oh man, that would feel great. You know,
Well, he will a year from now when his new calling will be to go to the Dallas Cowboys.
Be a cowboy for life, huh?
Yeah.
First of all, listen, Kyle, I was upset with what you said, unlike Brandon, because you didn't call Manish a hack, right? I was waiting for
Absolute
the word.
hack.
I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Okay, now I feel good about it.
Yeah. Well, we're getting all these New York words out there. Fugazi, hack. Yeah.
Hack. You think hack's a New York word?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's in New York.
Hack is that's vernacular usually for a cab driver. And I don't think that they because a hack license is your cab driver license.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow, funny.
And you don't get much more cabbie than in New York, so yeah, we'll claim it.
Yeah. So so listen, when I looked at this and I looked at the deal, like you said, Kyle, we got a hole for it, right? He did orchestrate himself out of New York. Douglas might say, hey, we made the trade just because we wanted to make the trade, but the timing is a little suspicious based on what Jamal said. And then shortly thereafter, he was on the street, right? But let's look at the draft picks that we have over the next 2 years. I'm going to put this image up here and read through it. So we have 2 first-round picks next year. We have a second, ours. We have 2 third-round picks, one from Seattle. Now, that's important because the 4th rounder I think we're giving to Seattle is next year. It's 2022.
2022.
Right?
Right.
So we get the upfrontness of that. We get their 3rd rounder in 2021. They don't get our 4th rounder until 2022, right? So 2 3rd rounders. We have our own 4th. We have 2 5th rounders, one from the Giants, right, from Leonard Williams trade.
Yep.
Right? So we have that. We have a 6th rounder from New England. We have 2 7th rounders, potentially, because one is a conditional. So I don't know. It's from Seattle. So maybe we made a trade during this year's draft. Then in 2022, we have 2 first rounders. Then everything else is the same minus the 4th rounder we're going to give Seattle. So when you look at what Douglas was trying to do here in this trade was to make sure it's front loaded, make sure that in 2021, when we go to the draft, we have all the capital we need in order to make the adjustments and really get up to speed quickly. The important part about all of this, though, is we have to draft well. So we'll see if we drafted well based on what happens in 2020, potentially. Now, it's all a crapshoot because we don't have maybe a college football season is going to be impacted just like
I think
the
that's
NFL
what Kerry
season
wants to talk about. He's got his hand up.
He does. It's
like
raised.
he was in Mrs. Lazarus's class in the 4th grade at Brookside School.
So I'm going to call him just like that, too. Kerry Taylor in the back?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes. So I think the part of the thing that we should also acknowledge is that there will be some free agents, not free agents, but quality players that we might be able to separate from a team that
with
can't
those picks.
pay,
with those picks,
right?
Yeah,
right. So just like Jamal Adams was traded, it could be that we go get somebody who we need or position of significant need, like pass rusher. I mean, when you look at it, who they gave up was they received a lot more in draft capital than when Khalil Mack was traded.
Yeah, good point.
And if
I didn't even think about that.
If we compare those 2 guys,
no comparison.
Who would you take?
No comparison.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So
and it's not at a premium position, right? It's not at a premium position at all.
Right. They got ones, but I think as a whole, if you pull up that, I don't have the
I'm gonna do it right now.
Yeah, but I feel like we got, if not the same, then more draft capital than
Chicago got.
Than Chicago received for or gave up.
Traded.
For,
yeah, gave up. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That's significant. That's significant. It allowed the
Raiders
to draft the who they got a receiver in the first round, I believe, with the Khalil Mack.
Was that Henry Ruggs or was that their own pick? Because they weren't that good, so I don't know.
Well, they had two. I think they have 2 or 3 first-round picks last.
They had at least 2, but the question is which one was the pick that they got for the trade, right? So I don't know if it was their own pick or if it was the pick that they got from Chicago. So that's the question.
Very, very true.
They had two first-round picks in the teens this year. I remember.
Was one of them the rookie running back that turned out to be pretty good? Not pretty good. He's like real good.
No, we're talking. I think we're talking about
this year, right? 2020.
Yeah, this just passed.
Okay.
Thing. So the Bears traded.
My bad.
The Bears traded 2 first-round picks, a 3rd-round pick, and a 6th-round pick, for
Khalil Mack.
For Mack, and a 2nd-round pick.
Wow.
And they got a conditional 5th-round pick. So
we beat him.
Kerry is right on because we got a starter.
We got a starter who, for a team that was winning, right?
Let me break down real quick why some of the stats with McDougal before you go, because I think I'm gonna help your argument here. He's a $5.4 million cap hit.
Yes.
He's a starter for 2 years. He had 70 tackles last year and 2 picks. Now, 70 tackles is not as much as Jamal Adams, but 70 tackles for a safety.
But
they were a better defense, ranked.
Yeah.
So you're getting a guy who made a lot of tackles in the scheme that they had. So
and he was a ball hawk. In terms of picking off passes, in terms of breaking up plays, in terms of he didn't play at the line of scrimmage like Jamal Adams did, right? But he was more of a roamer in that scheme. And when you look at how our defensive coordinator has sort of made his money, he makes his money based on I'm going to use the guys that I have and create the best scheme for everybody on my defense based on ability.
I agree with you. Like they play differently. Like you know who Jamal Adams plays like to me? He plays like Troy Polamalu. He plays like him. Ball hawk. He'll try to jump over the line and make plays in the backfield. Troy will try to sack you. Jamal Adams actually was up in the runnings for DBs to make the most sacks in a season. He's kind of like that kind of a player, and he'll pick it off and strip you and make you fumble as well. But McDougal, he's the one that'll probably intercept the ball a little bit more than, say, a Jamal Adams. But overall, of course, Jamal Adams is the better player. Yep. But a much better player. But
more of a deep safety.
Yeah.
I think also Jamal Adams, I said this to somebody the other day, Jamal Adams was everything we always wanted Darren Lee to be.
Yes.
And what everybody hopes Isaiah, was it Isaiah, the linebacker from Clemson? What's his last name?
Oh, Isaiah Williams.
Is it Williams or Wilson? Wilson is the tackle.
He's a different guy though. I mean, this guy can play the edge. Who you're talking about? The Clemson linebacker / safety / corner at times.
Simmons.
Yeah, Isaiah
Simmons. Yeah.
To me, he was more an edge / safety sort of.
Yeah. Swiss Army knife on the defense.
Totally.
Well, they're saying that he's going to play inside linebacker at whichever team it is that picked him.
Inside.
Well, in the scheme that they're in.
He should play at least outside.
Yeah, he's got that. To me,
inside on third downs, maybe. Inside on third downs. You know what I'm saying? But he should play outside. Yeah.
That's an unbelievable take, Kerry, that you had though with this Khalil Mack comparison, because arguably Khalil Mack is a better player than Jamal Adams.
It's not even arguably, bro. It's not even arguably. It hands down a better player, right? More impactful on the game because he's at a premier position on the field on the same side of the ball. So it's not even close. So that was a excellent take from that perspective. As far as
it's the first time I've heard it too.
Yeah, you know, somebody's
you
gonna
heard it
steal
here first.
Yeah, somebody's gonna steal it from us, and we'll carry all the credit. But yeah, the excellent take on that, man. Because you know that's now we got to see where Seattle ends up, right, this year and next year to see where those draft picks will be. But it's still 2 first-round draft picks and a third and a starter, right at the end of the day.
I think to me, what will make this more palatable is if Marcus May comes out of his shell and becomes the safety that we know he can be.
Yes,
but not only based on his talent, but based on his ability to stay on the field. If you could have that guy not replace Jamal. I'm not saying replace Jamal.
Yeah.
I'm saying come into his own to the player that we know he can be as a result of Jamal's exit.
Go even I'll trump you even more, Ashton Davis, right? Because now you're talking about somebody that Douglas actually drafted, right, for this particular scenario. Right. We talked about this, but we had the wrong name, right? Because we were gonna sign Jamal Adams. Marcus May was gonna walk, and instead it was the exact opposite. Now let's say we re-signed May to probably half the deal that we would assign Jamal Adams to. Maybe even a third of what he's looking for, potentially. So now you have a veteran safety. Then you had Ashton Davis that you're going to throw in there. If he ends up turning out to be what they drafted him to be, with third-round draft pick, somewhere in that range, you don't draft somebody as a safety in that slot unless she's going to be a starter. So ball hawk, somebody that's going to be out there flying around and everything. I think I don't feel like the safety room is any – I mean, obviously there's a drop-off, but I don't feel going out there that it's like, oh, all of a sudden we suck at safety right now. I don't really feel that way.
Oh, not at all.
What I feel is that if you have the 3 of them on the field at the same time in a package that is a passing package with Ashton Davis's ability to track the ball and McDougal's ability to have all around safety skill set, and May's just ability to stay on the field, first of all.
Well, he did that last year. He did do that last year.
Right. And again, a lot of what I saw, right, was Marcus May in the frame when a play broke down and he had to make he was the last person to make the tackle.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not an indictment on Marcus May per se. That's an indictment on that middle secondary level, the fact that he had to always be a correction,
but also hence the name and position safety, right?
It
makes sense.
Yeah, totally,
you know what I'm saying? So he is in fact doing his job. I don't have the numbers, but I did look up. He is in the top third of free safeties in the league. As far as him coming back from an injury-plagued season the year before that, he stayed on the field last year. He played well. And just what you guys were saying, you get all 3 of those guys. Yes, it's a little bit of a drop-off, but we have a rookie here with a lot of potential.
Sure.
It could be, with some coaching and experience, a come-up.
Ashton Davis is 6'1", 200 pounds, and ran a 4.28 40.
Wow.
Just think about that kind of speed and power. I would have liked Jeremy Chin. Here we go.
Here we go.
The chin.
Would have made a lot of sense. But who was it? Wyclef said Chinese Jamaican like a chin. Wasn't that Wyclef that said that?
No mercy.
Sounds like him, definitely. Sounds like
Wyclef is Haitian. He don't know nothing about this. He don't know nothing about this.
He's Jersey though. So yeah, I think. I think that we're gonna move on from this guy. He's a great player, Jamal Adams. Wish him the best in Seattle. I'll watch him. My friends here that are Seahawks fans were very happy about it, but all of them to a person said McDougal is no slouch. You did not get a bad player in return there. And he was
not a throw-in. He was not a throw-in.
Right.
No.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So, fellas, listen, let's move on because camp is upon us now.
Yep.
And so what players are we looking at in camp to make us a better team?
I'm just going to lead it off. Mekhi Becton. You're going to tell me that
say it 3 times.
So Mekhi Becton. So if you're going to tell me that they're going to switch him to right tackle and Fant is going to play left, I want to know what made you make that call. Is it because you saw something in minicamp or on film or what? That's the question.
That was your news, Kyle. Man, talk about it.
Can I answer that question from the? I'm going to play the role of the Jets front office right now.
Do that.
So when we first looked at Mekhi Becton as a draft prospect, one of the first things I said to everybody was, why would we draft this guy so high if he's a right tackle? Because all the film that I saw on him was playing right tackle.
Sure.
And then going back and look at it, he started out as a right tackle at Louisville and then moved to left tackle. And so he is a competent right tackle. George Fant, who we signed also off of a free agent deal from Seattle, was very, very good when he played last year at left tackle. We broke down that film of him against Bosa for the 49ers and how he kind of shut him down. So I think that their thought process is, let's get both of them on the field rather than putting a Chuma Goda over at right tackle and having either Fant or Mekhi not be on the field. Obviously, you got to put Mekhi on the field. You drafted him too high not to. So he has to start right away, whether it's in one place or the other. I think it's a good move to get the best 5 linemen out there, because then you're looking at you got a pick of interior linemen between Winters, who you still have on the roster. You still have you have I think Harrison is still on the roster.
He is. Harrison's still backup center.
Yeah, you put McGovern as the starting center, and then you got the rookie from UNC Charlotte, Clark, who they're very high on, who worked out with Becton. So my answer to that, Kerry, and I think the thought process that they're thinking is, let's make sure we get Fant, an athletic, young, up-and-comer, and Becton on the field at the same time.
Yeah,
in the position that Fant plays best. So it's like you have 2 of your high-profiled or talented guys playing on the field at the same time. And we were talking about this off camera before you hopped on. I am not mad at this as well, because I also, for me, I like offensive tackles, because I think it's just as valuable to be able to pass block as it is to run block. And if you are a road grader type of guy, which this guy is, and by the way, he came in great shape. I saw some video of him. He looked like he probably lost about 20 pounds. He looks like he's below 350. Remember, he got drafted at 364. He might be in the 340 somewhere. He looks pretty good.
But he ran a 5 flat 40.
Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. At 360.
At 360. At 364.
Yeah. So that's crazy.
Listen, if you're defending pass rush on the left, you still have to do it on the right. But if you can get that good push running that right side, forget it. Forget about it.
You know what? I think I'm the only dissenting opinion here. I just draft this guy number 11, right, in the first round. Last time I checked, Darnold's blind side was still on the left side of the line, right? Mm-hmm. So, if you're trying to – you want your number 1 tackle to be on the left side, not on the right. Yes?
Not necessarily.
What do you mean? If why do left tackles make so much money? Because all the quarterbacks are right-handed, and so that's where you put your left tackle, right?
I understand.
Are you sure you're number 1?
They should be switched.
I understand that, but
you saying, Brian, are you saying they should be switched?
I'm saying we didn't draft a right tackle number 11. I could, maybe I'm wrong, right? But to me, if you're going to draft somebody 11, now I understand circumstances. COVID-19 impacts all of this. So I understand the circumstances that were you don't have the mini camp, you didn't have, all of these things that a regular training camp that you would have. So I understand the circumstances leading us here. Doesn't mean that I'm happy about it. that we got this mammoth of a guy who's 6'7", 355 pounds, and he's playing right tackle, and we just drafted him in the first round. The dude should be playing left tackle, in my opinion. I can't go into it and be happy about it. If it's the circumstance, fine, but I'm not gonna, be here and be like, oh man, I'm overjoyed.
Can I give you the
right. Sure.
Let me give you the circumstance though, and I think Kyle and I may be on the same wavelength here. We've established that Fant plays best on the left, and he plays well, and he's athletic as well. Okay, we know that Becton can play on the left and play well, but I think if we bring Becton over and he can play well at the left tackle, which I have no doubt that he can because we did draft him so high, I think that there would be more of a drop off with having Fant play right or any other mix of tackles playing right. So to get the most players on the field as far as offensive line, as it is right now, it would be best to have Fant at the left where we know he plays the best, and then you still have potentially your best offensive lineman with the ceiling that is just like enormous. You still have him on the field because he can play both right and left together, and then you know what you do? You evaluate from there. If Fant can't get it done, you switch the kid over. You see what I'm saying? But get those top guys on the field at the same time rather than, say, putting Becton at the left. Fant doesn't play as well necessarily on the right, and maybe putting someone else where you have a further drop-off. That's kind of how I'm rationalizing this thing. I want to get all my guys on the field, on that O-line, who are rock studs, ready to play. And if Becton needs to play the right tackle because he's got experience doing both, then so be it. That's my argument.
I'm gonna go deep for a second here, Brian, to strengthen that argument.
Okay.
And say, okay, COVID-19. Who's playing quarterback? Sam Darnold gets COVID. He's out for 2 weeks. Joe Flacco comes in. Is Joe Flacco a righty or a lefty?
The lefty.
All of a sudden, Mekhi Becton becomes your guy.
Come on, Delaware. You should know that already.
Right? So
I didn't go to school with the guy. I mean, come on. Give me a break here, bro.
when Brian was going to Delaware, they were still running wing T.
That's true. And running the heck out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dwayne Brown, man. Dwayne Brown. You know what I mean? DB. Go ahead, man.
Rich Gannon.
I mean, listen, there is no slight, man. They had a program, bro. Wing T and not. You know what I'm saying? So I
got a different take. So go ahead, coach.
It's a reason why they call it the Delaware ring T. But I think that when you're looking at this situation, and I think it's a best case scenario, you might have a situation where even if Sam Darnold isn't even with us anymore, and we bring in a lefty quarterback, like isn't Trevor Lawrence lefty? I'll go so far into that.
Is this your argument, Kyle? Really?
My argument is purely that that if you can have a good right tackle and a good left tackle, and two guys that can play both positions, I don't see George Fant playing left tackle for us for the rest of his career. I see Mekhi Becton moving into that position.
As do I.
And that might come sooner rather than later. It'll be before his rookie deal is up.
And transitioning at a pace that he's not overwhelmed. Here's the thing. So maybe because they were in the same city as the Giants and Eric Flowers, maybe the Jets say, hey, we don't want that to happen to us. So we won't put him in a situation where he has to automatically live up to whatever standard that we've created and the city has created, which is to me was what happened to Eric Flowers until he was moved to right tackle and ended up being moved on to Washington, where he had success, where he became a guard, right? But was run out of town here. To a point where when I say, he had free agency success moving on to Miami, right? I don't want what happened to Eric Flowers happen to Mekhi Becton, who was just as a highly touted left tackle pick as ours was.
Okay, so let me jump in there for a second now. So if you start him at right and it doesn't go well, then where do you go with him? You're not going to play him at left tackle if you can't hack it at right. So to me, you throw him in the deep end of the water. You know, when you see a camp, if you see we're a couple days into camp. You know what I'm saying? We haven't even gone through 7 days of camp yet. We're already talking about the guy starting at right tackle.
Kids how to swim, B? Is that how you teach kids?
Oh, absolutely. Toss them in there, baby. You know what I'm saying? But listen, that's what I'm saying, though, Kyle. That's what I'm saying. So you're talking about 7 days into camp. You got him on the right side. Maybe they're saying, you know what? We'll start you off at right because that's what you feel more comfortable. We'll start, Fant at left just to start camp out. We'll see how dominant or not dominant you are, and we'll kind of roll with it from there. You do not have the benefit of having preseason. So at this point, you're not going to see him against any other team prior to week 1. So,
right, but you got a front line. You got a front line that was very formidable during the season, especially towards the end of the season, that you can match him up against to see really what he has. Now, I'm not saying I totally agree with them in terms of putting him at right tackle and putting Fant at left. But what I'm saying is that I don't necessarily have a problem with it.
Listen, I all I'm saying is I'm not going to sit here today and say if that's the ultimate outcome in week 1, he's on the right. As a Jet fan and a number 11 pick, I'm going to be happy about it. That's all, right? If it ends up and he's knocking and pancaking people and stuff like that, and the whole line is better because of it, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But today, less than a week into camp, and they're already talking about he could potentially be starting at right versus left, and we haven't even gone. We're barely into August yet, and we're talking that. To me, I'm like, I'm a little disappointed if that's the ultimate outcome, and he ends up being an above average right tackle, right? If he's all pro level, that's different. Or if he's like a Pro Bowl level at the end of the season, that's one thing. But, to start the season and we're not even a week in, and we don't have the benefit of other camps, mini camp and all those things prior to say he did this or he did that. So that's all I'm saying. I can't endorse it to be like I'm happy about it at this juncture. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think,
I have all confidence that he'll end up being better than Conklin, and Conklin was a superb right tackle.
Wow, you love that dude, Conklin. You wanted to sign him, like, you know what I mean? You was going to meet him at his house.
No way, boy, Tori.
Brian,
I think he might have and didn't tell us.
On the low.
Brian, do you think our O-line needs to improve more so in the running game or the pass game?
Wow.
Agree with Gary.
Wow. I would say the run game probably even more than the pass game. Yeah.
That's what I thought you'd say.
Yeah.
And I think that and I think that
so condescending to preface that.
Well, what does that mean? The dude is 6'7". No, he's 6'7", 360 pounds. He's not going to be good on either side. He's not. The way the line was last year, he's going to be a net positive wherever you put the guy.
I don't think we're saying that he's not going to be good on either side, but I mean, like, I don't have the numbers for this, but where are runs more effective in the scheme of things? I mean, I don't know.
No, but,
I'm just not sure.
Let's say this. When we drafted this guy, who was he drafted for? Was it Le'Veon Bell or was it Sam Darnold?
He was drafted for Sam Darnold.
Exactly. So regardless of we need more help on the run game, I'm not gonna argue that piece of it. But what I'm saying is you draft your left tackle for your quarterback, not for your running back.
That is true. And if he put it at the right side and he can establish the running game and become dominant, he's still helping out his quarterback.
No doubt. But you draft right tackles in the second or third round. That's why you do that.
Let me make my point. Let me make my original point.
Go ahead.
Which is if the O-line's biggest deal right now, priority wise, is running game, and you put Mekhi Becton on the right side, your point of attack is going to be away from the best defensive lineman who would potentially be on that left tackle. when I go back to like Curtis Martin and Vinny Testaverde, we had that guy Jenkins, who was our right tackle.
Yes.
I can't remember
going to friggin' Washington, I think.
Yeah, he went to Washington.
Jenkins.
And he was great. And he was a big part of why our running game was great. You want that left tackle to protect the blind side of the quarterback, and you want that right tackle to really be the road grader that's going to make your running game great and your play action great too, because play action is a big thing, and Sam throwing on the run is a big thing. So I'm going to throw out there one of my guys to look for in training camp to move this along, I guess. Lawrence Cager, undrafted free agent out of Georgia. Yeah. Big dude, 6'5". He is somebody that didn't get a whole lot of stats because of injuries. But I did watch him play in one of the reruns that they had
the ball out of the air.
Yeah, he's a Brandon Marshall type.
Yeah.
Brandon Phillips what?
Brandon Phillips Marshall. And I'll throw that out there as like a fun, like maybe he could be number 4. I know that there's going to be a lot of competition for who the number 4 receiver is, or essentially who the number 3 receiver is too, because you got Mims and you got Perriman, who are like at the top spots with Crowder right now.
Yep.
The other guy is Bryce Hall, and
yes.
I wasn't super high on Bryce Hall when we drafted him because I didn't know as much about his history. But like Sidney Jones, who tore his Achilles right before the draft a couple years ago that the Eagles drafted, Bryce Hall could possibly be one of the top 3 corners in this draft based on his 2018 season. So that's a super steal. In my opinion,
it just depends on the depth of his ankle injury, because people were kind of scared off, and that's why we got him in the 5th round. So
sure,
I'm sure he's been medically evaluated. I mean, he comes from good stock, man. Like you were saying, he had a great 2018 season. So
he had the most passes defended in the whole of college football in 2018.
Yep.
He's a beast when he's healthy.
But did he not opt out? Did I hear he opted out? Or he has an injury or something?
I didn't see anything.
Okay.
It might have been the undrafted free agent out of Memphis. His last name is Hall as well. Pass rusher, outside linebacker type of dude. I know they both have the same name, so just double check that. I can't confirm.
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
Talking about Bryce Huff.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, it's Huff, not Hall. Okay. So the guy that I really have my eye on, or I have 3. Of course, Sam Darnold. You know what I'm saying? And to have Sam Darnold flourish, we've already spoken about Makai, who Kerry brought up, and we've totally just, opened that box up on him and unpacked that. There you go, Brian. And so now to actually help that out as well, this is for Kerry. I want to see Chris Herndon, come back from just not being available last season, and to really be that safety valve for our top-notch quarterback, or our top drafted quarterback, to really be that safety valve, and not even just a safety valve, but just a weapon as well, and just continue to develop. And then also my guy, Kyle, not so much guy, but my guy, Quinnen Williams. Get rid of that gun charge, serve your 2-game suspension, and Quinnen get back out there. And you know what? Honestly, I think, hit the weights a little bit more, because I feel like,
he's a little smooth, right? He's a little smooth.
By the way, all charges dropped on Ed Oliver. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, so that was disappointing. So
don't hate on it.
Only because of you, Kyle. All right, so listen, I'm gonna jump on that Quinnen Williams bus. Here's why, right? We traded Jamal Adams. Now we have the distinction, us and the Raiders, the only teams without a first-round draft pick from 2011 through 2017 on our team.
Yikes.
Think about that. Let that settle in for a sec.
That stinks.
Right? smells like hot garbage, right, in the summer. So that being the case, we can't retain. We're not drafting the right players, and we can't retain the players that we need on our team to be able to build a program.
Can I tell you why, B?
Why is that?
Because we've retained the wrong GMs, but now we are, I think, at this point, retaining the right one. Hopefully so. Carry on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And to that point, I think the number one person on this list, even more than Becton, because we retooled the offensive line, right, in free agency as well, is Denzel Mims, right? To me, Mims, if he turns out to be better than some of those wide receivers drafted ahead of him in the late first round, ends up being the steal potentially of this draft in the second round and hits Sam Darnold, makes him better, right?
Yeah.
Makes Becton look better because the offense looks better as a whole, and the offensive line does as well. So if he ends up being a steal and maybe our 1A wide receiver at the end of the day, I think that changes our offense completely, and that's the side of the ball that needed the most help going into 2020.
Bryce Hall is on the COVID reserve
COVID-19 list, right?
Yeah,
he is. Wow, darn it.
So he might have it, but that doesn't mean he's not going to come back from it. Right.
It means he might have had contact tracing with somebody too.
Correct.
So he's on quarantine for 2 weeks.
That's right.
Yeah. So I have 2 points to make, just real quick.
Go ahead.
I want to add Sam Darnold to that list specifically because of a couple of things. Number one, is he going to stay on his feet? And we did highlight what was the most impactful aspect of the offensive line, the running game or the passing game. But when you look at it, Sam Darnold spent more time being hurried than probably the top 26 quarterbacks in the league.
True.
And that was a significant issue. So when you factor in he's on the third year of his deal, so you're going to have to make a decision on whether or not you're going to extend this guy or you're going to move on.
So if this ends up being a lost season, then his season will be told another year. So I guess we don't miss out on anything on that. But I'm with you, Kerry. I mean, we have to figure out if this is the quarterback or not. The problem is you have, like Kyle mentioned, a blue chip quarterback potentially coming out in Trevor Lawrence next year. That doesn't change regardless of COVID-19 or not. So go ahead. Go ahead.
So again, that complicates things, especially now that you have draft capital that you can give up for somebody like Clemson quarterback. So I want Sam Darnold to be our quarterback because it pushes your organization so far back when you draft somebody number one and you don't maintain him past the rookie deal.
Personally, I would re-sign Sam Darnold right now.
Same here.
What?
Yeah, because I don't think that you're looking at a guy that has ever like gone below the year before. He's on the rise up. I would extend him. But I also think back, if we had never drafted Jamal Adams, we could have had Pat Mahomes, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Right? Are we going to do this again? I
mean, with
always
Jamal,
a valid point.
I'm going to give
with Jamal Adams leaving.
Right.
With Jamal Adams leaving,
right?
I think it's a very good point to bring up that we could have been, if we had a good general manager at the time that Jamal Adams was drafted. Somebody could have stepped out and said, "I like this guy, so this guy is the next coming of a true franchise, unbelievable quarterback." And like Andy Reid did, drafting him earlier than anybody would have expected. If we had a good GM, we could have done that too.
But there were other GMs that passed on him as well too, though.
Well, I mean, and Deshaun Watson too. I mean, let's talk about that draft as well. We had two very good franchise quarterbacks staring us in the face. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes has done so much, right? But you also had him, Deshaun Watson, right there, and we did not draft him either.
And the MVP of the league, the last pick of the round.
Yeah, Deshaun.
Yeah.
I don't think that Deshaun Watson is in the same league as Pat Mahomes.
I don't think he is either.
I don't think he has the weapons. I mean, you put Deshaun Watson on that team, with Andy Reid as your, quarterback whisperer. I mean, it's hard to say, man. The guy's pretty darn good, man. With only one weapon,
he's good, but I agree with Kyle. I don't think he's as good. I mean, there were talks, and I don't know. They were saying if Mahomes stopped playing today, could he potentially go in the Hall of Fame? So I didn't watch the show.
Come on.
But this, oh my gosh.
Come on.
I put it to you this way. If he was on the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't think he would have gotten the 50 touchdowns or the 55 touchdowns that Mahomes got. I think he would have been in the low 40s.
I think Deshaun Watson, he hasn't missed any games due to injury, right? He's played every game that he started every game. I think he's like Dak Prescott. I don't think that they're
Don't do that. Don't do that. He's not Dak Prescott. I don't think he's that. I
don't think he's Dak either. I think he's better than Dak.
He's better than Dak, clearly. And think about the two teams you just put him and compared him to. The Dallas Cowboys. Think about the offensive line, the running back they have, the wide receiver that they have. Think about Kansas City Chiefs, and think about the weapons that they have. And think about the coach that they have. Who do you have standing next to Deshaun Watson in Texas? And they just traded away the one guy that you can even put next to him.
And their offensive line isn't as good.
Not nearly as good. Running game, non-existent. Come on. I mean, you can't compare the situations at all.
I'm going to tell. What I'll tell you is that I wouldn't give Dak Prescott or Deshaun Watson $40 million a year to play quarterback for me.
I agree with you there, Kyle. I do. I think there's a much bigger gap between Mahomes and Deshaun Watson than I think Brian is articulating. I think there's a bigger gap. Although I do respect, and I would take, Deshaun Watson. Shoot, I would take. Let's just say I didn't have the quarterback that I have. All three of the quarterbacks that we're talking about, I would gladly take any of those three on my team.
Well, let's say this. It illustrates the fact that I would not re-sign Darnold because does he compare? Is he even part of the conversation of any of those guys? And you're not going to pay any of them $40 million. I would Deshaun Watson, by the way, on a shorter-term deal. I would. But to me,
you won't sign a shorter term deal.
Well, I mean that's another story. You asked, what would you asked $40 million, I wouldn't sign. I'm like, yeah, for a shorter term deal, I would definitely do that, and it would probably be in his best interest to do it anyway because now he's up for another contract. But that's another conversation.
Well, what are your expectations of a quarterback that you pay $40 million though? Your expectation is a Super Bowl.
Not necessarily. It's the going rate of what quarterbacks are now going to be paid. So you got to think about that, right? So now, what are you paying? What are you paying Sam Darnold? 30? What are you going to re-sign him for?
Right.
Sam Darnold. Well, here's the thing. I don't think every starting quarterback is going to be basically demanding that $40 million, box that's there. I mean, you have 32 starters. I don't think everyone is going to be getting that. Like Sam hasn't won anything. He has basically accelerated things both years in the last quarter of his career. But, on the outside looking in, people can look at him and say, all right, you haven't proven that much. I think we could probably get him for 33.
Question.
Question.
Yes. Who's the second best quarterback in the NFL under 30?
Second best quarterback in the NFL under 30?
That you would actually give a contract that was a long-term contract to
Lamar Jackson.
So take out the the Drew Breeses and how old is Kirk Cousins?
Well, yeah, that's what I was bringing up. Kirk Cousins, $96 million over 3 years extension. Kirk Cousins,
zero Super Bowls.
Right.
Always hated him.
I hate him even more now.
But not only they gave him the original contract and then re-signed him for another guaranteed contract.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Because where else are you going to go?
Right.
Well, they re-signed him to make their cap hit better.
And Kirk Cousins' stats are better than Darnold's too.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But you're going to reach. So what do you
played more games though?
Absolutely.
Of course.
He's a veteran.
Of course. That's what I'm saying. Right now, Sam Darnold, worst thing in the world to re-sign him right now. You don't even know what you have You can give him give him the weapons, give him the offensive line, and then figure out what you have. Problem
I disagree.
Is,
I disagree.
Wow.
I think it's year 3. He's young. I see the talent in him. We've never really given him that talent to really flourish. This is the year that I think that we could actually potentially see him start to flourish even more than we had. At the end of his rookie year, we saw the potential. At the end of his sophomore year, we saw the potential. And it's always cheaper to kind of hit them a little bit early than it is to hit them later in that year that we should be basically, in like year 5.
So you'd re-sign him today versus the end of this year. Is that the question? Because I think that's what Kyle was saying. He'd re-sign him right now.
What I'm saying is that if I get him cheaper by extending him now, I don't need to see him play this year to extend him.
I do.
I disagree.
Same here.
I disagree.
I agree with Kyle.
I disagree.
I agree with Kyle.
I disagree.
I want to see him. I want to see him perform behind a better offensive line before I sign him. And I would feel like if he played really well behind an offensive line, behind a competent offensive line for half the season, then I would sign him at the end of the season for more money and not have a problem with it. It's my peace of mind committing those types of financial resources to him, even if it's at a discounted rate, because if he's bad at a discounted rate, that means I'm signing him, right?
And he's crushing your cap.
Drafting an additional quarterback.
Right, and he's crushing your cap. And you have him on your cap, and if it goes wrong, it goes left for whatever reason this year, and you re-sign him right now, that's the worst thing you could do, because now he's sucking up. He's a quarterback, so he's going to suck up a large percentage of your cap for somebody that you're going to want to jettison at some point because he didn't make it. To me, worst thing you could do. End of the season, that's a different conversation, man. The dude does what we say he's supposed to do. All this potential turns into kinetic energy, and you see it on the field because he has a competent offensive line and a couple of weapons. Oh, yeah, let's do it, and let's try to – you're still banging him early?
Right.
You're still not at the end of the contract.
Do you think Sam Darnold is more Aaron Rodgers or more Matthew Stafford?
Wow. So
even if he's more Matthew Stafford, even worst case scenario, he's more of a Matthew Stafford, then I have to find the offensive coordinator that can still win with him.
A coach. And to answer that question, he's not more Aaron Rodgers. I would equate him more with Matthew Stafford, but also Matthew Stafford is
you can win with Matthew Stafford. You can win with a Matthew Stafford if you have the proper coaching staff around him.
What did I say? What did I say from Jump Street?
Funny. But you don't even know if you have Matthew Stafford or if you have, I don't know, just some guy who's going to be out the league in 2 years.
I agree. I was just speaking to Kyle's question.
Of course.
The reason I say Matthew Stafford is because when Brian, you bring up an albatross on your salary cap that you have to live or die with, that's who I think of. Mm-hmm. Like Matthew Stafford has had really good years and he's had really pedestrian years.
Yeah.
And the Detroit defense and the weapons around him have
sure.
he had Calvin Johnson. He had Calvin Johnson for years.
Yes.
Calvin Johnson was one of the top 3 receivers in the league.
Right.
Sure.
I equate Matthew Stafford with Matt Ryan as well of Atlanta. Same kind of thing.
Yeah, but Matt Ryan won.
Matt Ryan should have won a
Super Bowls. Yeah.
But he didn't.
He should have won a Super Bowl.
Didn't win though.
Yeah, but he went to going to one and winning one.
True.
He should have won that Super Bowl when they were up, 31 points?
Sure.
That wasn't his fault.
My wife was sleeping. It was like, woke up. You're not a Patriots one.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
All right, fellas.
Yeah.
I think we kind of we
death.
got a good one in here.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Kyle lead this one off because, we are in New York. We've already thrown out all these per New York words. And here's another one, a New York phrase, New York Knickerbockers. All right. They, once again, have a new coach. All righty. And the Knicks. Oh, my goodness.
Well, at this time right now, there are 3 New York Knicks fans on this podcast.
Wow. Used to be 4.
Wow.
What happened? Who left?
Until James Dolan is no longer the owner of this franchise, I am going to watch the Blazers. I'm going to watch the NBA in general. I'm going to hope that the Supersonics come back to Seattle, and I'm going to keep it moving with the Knicks because they're just this ownership frustrates me to the point where I mean, like last year, I watched every Knick game that I could get my hands on. 4:30 in the afternoon, coming home in the winter, so I could watch a Knicks Wizards game, or something like that. I'm dating myself with the Bullets, but it's just gotten to the point with this ownership that when you hear about these free agent debacles that we've had the last few years, and the coaching carousel, it's just no one wants to play for that owner. No one wants in on that situation. Everybody wants out. And to see Brooklyn thrive while the Knicks, just wallow, it's hard. And I'm not gonna be a participant in it anymore until. And this is not the first time I've done this. I did it in the late '90s too. I don't know why I came back last time, but because Dolan owned the team then. But I'm kind of sick of it, and I don't think that Tom Thibodeau is a bad hire at all. As far as like his track record, and he will demand a certain defensive accountability that coaches on the Knicks have not.
Yeah. I actually met him once. He's a really cool guy. And him being a basketball coach, I was like, oh, I'm taller than you. I said that internally. I did. Of course, I wouldn't play myself and say that, outwardly, but I was like, oh, I'm taller than this guy.
So,
well, he's more than Isaiah Thomas too.
He's more Jeff Van Gundy than anybody that they've hired since.
Agreed.
I don't mind that.
Agreed.
I don't mind that at all. I like that.
No, I like it too. I mean, so a couple of stats here. So 589 winning percentage with Chicago and Minnesota, 11th best winning percentage in NBA history, right?
Oh,
352 wins. The year that he took over, he took over the Bulls, they were 41-41. Next year, 62-20, right?
Significant. That's
significant.
Great.
Yeah, definitely. Not as much with Minnesota. First year, 29-53 prior to him taking over, and then when he took over, it was 31-51. But there was a couple of game improvement there, and they went to the playoffs in the first time in 13 years. A couple of years later. So when you look at, Chicago and the teams that he had, and Minnesota and the teams that he had, there were young talent that he was able to cultivate. I look at a Jimmy Butler as a perfect example, not somebody that was a top 2, 3, 4 draft pick in the league like a LeBron James or whatever, but you had a Derrick Rose, obviously, on that Chicago team. But it's not the work he did with Derrick Rose, because he was always somewhat of a finished package. It was that Jimmy Butler work, right? Somebody that was hardworking. He pushed to be a two-way player. And again, those Chicago Bulls teams were pretty tough. Played defense, right? And I think he graded on the Minnesota teams in that he wanted them to play defense. He wanted them to practice hard. And I can't disagree with that. So let's say if you learned a little bit, because obviously it's a different NBA and load management and some of those other things, but I love the hire, to be honest with you. And it's the first time in a while where I said, the Knicks actually did something that made sense, right? They hired a coach that made sense, that's had experience, and that is a rat as far as basketball is concerned. Is going to go in there, watch film, and put everything that he can into trying to make the Knicks a winner. I agree with everything that Kyle said. I was on the verge, teeter-tottering, when everything kind of came out after the George Floyd and kind of their response or lack thereof to it. I was close, man. I was like this close. I was this close, man. I was with you, Kyle. I hate to quit on teams. Obviously, being a Jets fan, right, and a Knicks fan too. If I was gonna be a quitter, I would have done that a long time ago, right at this point. So I'm hoping that they eventually sell the team. But if it doesn't happen, then I'll just root for the players, not necessarily the owner. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, as for me, I'm definitely still a Knicks fan and everything, but honestly, I don't watch them that much. So I basically put them in the corner. And why did I put them in the corner? I put them in the corner ever since the whole Patrick Ewing thing, because I love Patrick Ewing. He's my favorite NBA player, and he's my favorite Knick. and it's just like they have just stunk every single year in and out, just about, just for the longest time. And then it just brings down the franchise. And then you're looking at the owner and the ownership. It's like, oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me. But I do like this hire, and I think it'll be good for RJ. Am I saying his name?
RJ Barrett.
Yeah. So for RJ Barrett, and this guy is a coach's coach. He's like a Van Gundy, like Brian was saying, kind of X's and O's, and being 41 and 41, and then being 61 and 20, whatever. I mean, you're going to teach these guys the X's and O's, and this is something that you can lean this high draft pick, this young kid, start leaning things on and kind of build as your foundation with a foundational coach like this. So I like it. I just hope that the pressure doesn't come from the top going down to destroy what he's trying to build from the bottom going up, as a coach. And that right there is my concern. And I just do not trust ownership. So I've put the Knicks kind of in the corner, but I'm still a Knicks fan, but I haven't worn any Knick paraphernalia in a while or whatever. And, I'm definitely more Jets and Yankees than I am Knicks, but I'm still a Knicks fan, but they need to, straighten up and fly right. So hopefully this coach does the deal.
Wait, is Patrick Ewing Jamaican? My
Not
memory is okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I digress.
Look, my take is this. Brian and I were born into this, right? So
indeed,
my favorite player of all time,
Bernard King.
It's Bernard King, and we've made it a public point that Bernard King is our cousin, right? So
yes.
We grew up with this, and watching Bernard and Albert and watching them, including Gerald, play college and professionally. I'm never going to not be a Knick fan, double negative, right?
Hey, Kerry.
The other thing is that yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we used to play basketball at the Campbells, and Mike Saffarelli's favorite play was Chris Mullin, and I think Brian dunked on Saffarelli and shouted out, Bernard Hopkins. Wow. That's for Saffarelli.
I shouted out several things, so I can't really distinguish.
That was just
what
one
that
of them, I'm sure. Right. But my point is that I have friends in the organization. So,
I meant to say Bernard King. I said Bernard Hopkins by accident. Bernard King.
You know what you meant.
It's all good. It's all good.
Right. So, I have friends in the organization. So I hear things that I don't necessarily share with you that may not necessarily shine the Knicks in the best light. But here's the thing. You're a fan. As far as from my perspective, I'm a fan of the Mets. I'm a fan of the Knicks, and I'm a fan of the Jets.
Ouch.
And what do they have all in common? Ownership that is incompetent. So unless I want to not be a fan of any team, of any organization, of any sport, then hey, this is where I am. This is where I land, and I root for the players, and I root for the organization, not necessarily the ownership. So, I hope that Tibbs bringing back a Knick, because Tibbs is a Knick. Mike Woodson is a Knick, right? They've been part of the organization, and Woodson was a part of the organization when they were winning, right?
Yeah. So
I'm hoping that those decisions that were made, along with the decisions that are going to be made as surrounding this draft, are a precursor of things to come. And that's where I'll leave it.
All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, hey, listen, you know what? I think all this brings us, because we haven't broadcasted in a while. So, B, why don't you cue that music up, man? We're about to go to a little tweak me, peek me. Cue it up.
That's right.
I've been tweaked this whole thing.
No, boy. Yeah, I might not have a peak, by the way.
let her rip.
Let her rip. All right. So, hey, listen. This is our segment of Tweak Me, Peek Me. You guys probably haven't heard this since like late May, early June. So this is a segment where we talk about things that tweak us, that kind of upset us in the sports world or whatever, or in the culture. And then we talk about things that pique us, that make us feel like little flowers sprouting from the earth. Yay, that makes me happy.
Little woman fuzzy inside. Yeah.
All right, So who wants to go first with Tweak Me, Peek Me?
Me.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Carrie, you're in Mrs. Lazarus's class. Go for you.
Me. So here's the thing. What tweaks me right now, there's a lot of things that tweak me, but what tweak me in particular is the fact that MLB is having a significant problem with their season. And it just shines a light on the fact that in the NFL doesn't have, to me, a viable plan of reopening and staying open, a sustainable plan that will allow them to open and stay open and have a successful season that ends in a Super Bowl. I have a problem with that. And they need to get it together and figure out a plan that can conceivably succeed. And that's not what's going on right now. What piques me is the optimism I feel with the Knicks hire of Tibbs. That's what it seems to me that is the best hire that they have made as an organization in the last 20 years. Period.
Yeah, good stuff.
Nice.
I agree.
Nice. All right, I'll go next. I'm going to go with, let's see here. I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with Tweak Me. I'm going to go with Tweak Me first.
All right.
So basically, I am nervous that the NFL season will not play from start to say finish. And I'm a big football guy. I'm hoping that we get to see a full NFL season. I'm hoping that we get to see a full college season, but I have my lingering doubts. And with the state of COVID and how everything is going, I think it's less than 50-50. It's like a dice roll, and I'm kind of doubting that we will see a full season. So, that's kind of tweaking me out internally a little bit. But what's piquing me is that in my hopes, and if the season is cut short, I have high hopes that Seattle will lose every game. So let's just say that,
oh my gosh.
Let's just say that they cut the season off at like after game 3. This is the Seahawks schedule. They're playing let's see here. I think the Seahawks are playing the Falcons. Pretty good team. They're playing the Pats. They've lost some people, but you got to deal with Belichick. They've lost Super Tom, but you get Cam Newton there, and you got to play against Belichick, the greatest coach of all time. And then you're going to play the Cowboys. Cowboys are a good team. You could walk out of there 1-2. I'm hoping 0-3. Why am I hoping 0-3? Because we got their first round pick of next year. We may not be able to vet because there may or may not be a college season.
Right.
So now we have to go with the top echelon players, maybe some of those players that should have come out this year that would have been first round draft picks that didn't come out. At least we have, games to kind of reference to be able to say, okay, this guy's a safer pick. Let's just pick him in the first round. I don't want to, so the more they lose, the better for us. That's how I'm looking at it. So that right there piques me, ladies and gentlemen.
Sure. You want to go, Kyle? Or are you leaving it to me?
You could go. I'll go last.
All right. So, so what piques me is it's the Yankees right now, man. You know what I mean? The Yankees
6-1, 7-1.
They're just bullies, man.
Yeah.
And it's not even close. Aaron Judge, a healthy Aaron Judge, put 4 home runs, in the last 4 games, which is, phenomenal from that standpoint. They're just really showing who they are as a team in Major League Baseball and the opportunity that they have right now in this shortened season in order to end up in the winner's circle when it's all said and done. What tweaks me is that it may never happen, right? And so COVID-19 as a whole tweaks me, and for various reasons. Sports world, obviously, with everything that's going on and the uncertainty around it, we may not have football. I mean, I just can't even wrap my brain around that. What am I going to do in September and October? Yo, listen, it's all good, the documentaries and that I'm watching The Wire right now again, right? which is great, but I mean that means there's nothing on TV to watch right now, right? At all, and obviously everything that happens personally and everything associated with that I don't want to make light of, but in the sports world itself, it's been tough, man, to just deal with what's going on right now and just not having anything to watch. Even the NBA is nice to watch, right? But who knows how long that's going to last. It only takes a couple of players to have an outbreak in that space and for them to shut it down. So that's really what tweaks me at this point, and I'll pass it on to my man McKenna. Kyle.
So I'm gonna give you something to help out one of your TV tweaks. I would say that the thing that's tweaking me the most right now is that this guy Manish Mehta is still allowed access to the facility to ask questions. I think that it really leaves a bad impression on me when somebody would go so far to be anti the organization. He's like, just, it's almost like having an enemy journalist. If he was a journalist, he's not a journalist. He's an opinion writer.
A hack.
A hack. I mean, I don't even know why they let him in the facility anymore. And I mean, I'm not a big fan of the New York Post to begin with. I think that it's a hack newspaper, but that he tweets me, and the whole way that Jamal Adams used him and he used Jamal Adams, it rubs me the wrong way. I don't think it's a class way to do things at all. And then you can't come back and then try to reverse course and then try to be classy afterwards. You know what I mean? Jamal Adams had the least classy exit of New York that he could possibly have. It's unfortunate because he's a tremendous football player. And I'll never take that away from him. But I wish that he had a little bit more of a classy exit.
Sure.
That tweaks me because he'll never be remembered as a great Jet at this point. There'll be no homecomings. The thing that piques me is this Last Chance U show. I don't know if you guys have watched it at all in its different seasons, but it started out as kind of like this look at JUCO football where they kind of showed how these coaches kind of are real transactional with the football players and all about themselves, real big egos. And this new season that they have right now, the football program, it's not like that at all. And it's kind of a breath of fresh air it's the last football one they're going to do. They're going to go to a totally basketball format after this. But if you guys haven't seen it, I would check it out. Last Chance U on Netflix. Laney College in Oakland, Coach Beam. It's a great departure from where they were getting to in the last couple seasons, I think, which were also interesting, but not in the heartfelt way like this season has been so far. So if you're looking for something to watch besides The Wire, I would also suggest Bosch if you guys haven't watched that yet. That has what's his name, Marlowe from The Wire in a totally he's a cop in Bosch, and he's a good actor. So Jamie Hector, I think his name is.
So, hey, guys, I thought that this was a great show. I mean, it's been a few months, but we came back like we didn't stop anything. So that's good, man. And the camaraderie's there and the content is there, So there we go, BKBK podcast. So thanks for watching another episode of the BKBK podcast. We want to be able to keep bringing you the latest news and viewpoints of where sports and the culture collide, and the New York Jets reign supreme. So keep watching. You can find us on Facebook on our BKBK Podcast fan page, Twitter on @BKBK Podcast, Instagram @BKBK Podcast, as well as on YouTube. Just type in BKBK Podcast, hit the like and the subscribe button to show the love. And if you cannot watch us, you can just listen to us on iTunes. Go to bkbkpodcast.podomatic.com. That's it. And let's go Jets. Let's go Baldwin Bruins. And let's go Team BKBK. Turn it on, B. Woo.